The first step in becoming an authentic influencer is you have to be yourself. It has to feel right. There has to be a congruence. Where you want to win the hearts and minds is through influence. And you've got to be you. The common link through everyone you named, Cardone, Monero, me, is that we've done something. We're doing something. We're not posers, wannabes, telling you from our couch, go do this, and we've never done it. No, we've all done one thing. We're out there, we failed, we've gotten our asses kicked, and we kept going.
Is your business struggling right now? You might think that it's because you don't have enough sales, but the reality is it's because you don't have the attention of the marketplace. This is attention equals dollars. You deserve more. Your business deserves more. And I'm here to teach you everything that I know on how to get the attention that you need and to turn that attention into dollars. Welcome to the Attention Equals Dollars podcast. I'm your host, Luke Nesler, where each week we come to you live from the Impact Media Studios. I bring to you my expert friends and my contact base that have done amazing things, that have figured out how to get attention on their brand, on their businesses, and have grown empires so that you can pull bits and pieces that fit into your game plan. What's the roadmap to success? My job is to bring to you the people that have found that success. And today I've got an exciting guest that I'm so pumped to welcome to the show, somebody that I've gotten to know over the past several months, someone that demands your attention when he walks into the room. His energy, the way he carries himself is unignorable. He's an expert in leadership development. He's the author of the book, Always Forward. He's the creator of the Wooditch Network, a digital network that provides weekly shows that will help you level up in your career. You have to check it out. And someone that I've learned a tremendous amount from, and more importantly, someone that I'm extremely proud to call a friend, Mr. Bill Wooditch. Bill, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the Attention Equals Dollars podcast. How are you doing today?
Honored, humbled, and I want to keep that opening and use it somewhere else because it was great. Thank you for the very kind words, Luke, and I consider you a friend first and then a colleague second.
Absolutely. Same here. It's an honor to have you on the show. And it's somebody that I've had some exciting guests on the show, some folks that you're also acquaintances and friends with Matt Monero, and with all the exciting people we've had on the show. You're somebody that I've been wanting to get on for a while. Just, the great conversations we've had in Vegas and seeing what you've done and the self-confidence. And again, the way that you carry yourself, I think it's something that my audience can learn a tremendous amount from. And I'm really excited to dive into your story and let you bring your value today.
Ready for you, Lukester. All the way from West Virginia. You're cleaning up really nice, man.
Hey, man. That's everybody thinks that we're, we ride to work on the back of a cow and we date our sisters, and that's the stereotype. But the bottom line is
that's Arkansas.
That's not everybody, especially when you're this close to Pittsburgh.
Oh, here you go. Go Steelers.
Yeah, right. So, Bill, all right, first thing I want to talk about, and you have a new book that you're working on. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure how far in depth we can go on that, but I know you're big on the stance on the topic of failing. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that and what in your story has brought you to the point to where that's where we're at in this conversation, the importance of failing, why it's a good thing, and what can you tell us about that?
I think it's an essential thing. It is an essential thing. If you think of the title of my first book, Always Forward, it's almost always forward turned inside out. Because the title of the next book is Fail More. It's been picked up by McGraw-Hill. And I think it's essential today, especially with millennials, where participation trophies are mostly the rule, where we're not really set up to fail. We haven't been set up in a position where we have to learn what failure is and then take those lessons away and apply them so we can go always forward. Yeah, so fail more is essential. Luke, if you're ever going to cross that bridge from thought to true success, you're going to have to cross it through failure by learning, going forward, adjusting, and adapting. That's it.
Yeah. Jeff, my partner and I, who you met in Vegas, we were having a conversation this week actually about all the mistakes that we've made because, you know, we neither one of us had business degrees. We built this company literally from trial and error, and we've made so many mistakes along the way, some that have almost cost us big, but we've learned from every single one of them. Some weren't that painful, some really hurt and almost kill you, but we've learned from every single mistake. So talk to me about that, the importance of failing, but is it part of your game plan to figuring out what works and what doesn't work?
Well, I was thinking about this as you were speaking. You have to be agile. So you have to be fast and agile, or you'll be out of business. So it's crucial. You're going to fail. You're going to drip blood on the carpet. Sometimes your bottom line is going to be red. It's not going to be green. It's not going to be in the black. You've got to be able to move fast when you see or when you think you're in a bad position. That's all part of learning from failure. Luke, what I've learned is that the great ones, the ones I've spoken with, the Moneros of the world, they have a difficult time with the word failure. They will sit, they're stymied. Leonard Wheeler was on my show. They're thinking it through. It's really a setback. It's part of the bargain that success requires. So they're not looking at failure as that final thing, stage, outcome. They're looking at it as part of a process of how did we learn? What did we learn? Now, what can we do different? It's the fool that trips over something that's behind them. And if you don't learn from failure, you're going to keep tripping over those same things that have made you fail.
Do you feel that failure is the best educator in the business world?
I think I always say it's a serious student of success who finds failure the indispensable teacher. So I think failure is an indispensable teacher. I think the serious student of success is going to find it in every move.
I love that.
You're going to fail.
So talk to me about, let's take a step back now. Talk to me about your journey. How did Bill Wooditch get to where he is today? Somebody that's been on the Steve Harvey show, somebody that's spoken in front of massive audiences, that is now on his second book. How did Bill Wooditch get to where he is today, and what are some of the biggest lessons you've taken away from that journey along the way?
I say, man, what a long, strange trip it's been. Because I go back down those corridors, those hallways to Western Pennsylvania, where I grew up in a town of 3,800 people in the mountains and snow. And it was a foreclosed future for me because I became that rebel without a clue, without a cause. And I just, grow my hair, Luke, and smoke cigarettes and drink beer, go to work in a factory. So one of the first things I learned was humility, which was beaten into me through an ego that thought, I can do these things. I can turn on the switch and I can get out of here whenever I want. That's not true. You've got to pave your way. Those intentions you have to be paved through action. And you have to have a directive, a course of action, and you got to feel the burn, Luke. If you don't feel the burn inside that there's something more, it doesn't matter how much money you think you can make, how much you have to have or want to have. You don't have that burn that's an inspiration from inside. The outside motivation is not enough to drive you forward. So in the Cliff's Note nutshell, grew up in a very poor family. Combined household income, I think, was about $13,000. In my first job, I had one suit, I had an oxidized station wagon, and I worked for a Fortune 500 company. They hired me right out of college.
Wow.
And I had never sold anything in my life. But the number one person, I want your audience to really understand this, the number one product you have and you're selling is yourself. And so I had this tremendous self-belief without having any kind of wherewithal or any kind of basis to have the belief. But I was very confident that if there was someone else who did it, and that was my rule, if someone else has done this, I can do it. I can do it. So I put myself in a position where it was up to me. I had to make the sale. And I knew, Luke, if it was a human making the purchase, I had a shot. In 2 years, I became their top salesperson, and I moved forward from there.
So you said something, the number one product that you have is selling yourself. And that was definitely an area that I wanted to cover in this episode with you, because it's something that I talk about all the time. I just did a live stream before we went live. And it's, if you can't promote yourself, why can you expect somebody else to promote yourself? If you're afraid to sell yourself to others, why should somebody buy from you? Talk to me about that. And obviously, as somebody that's found massive success, why is that so important? And why do you think there's such a hang up with this magical tool that we have today called social media, to where it's never been easier to sell yourself and promote yourself, why are so many people afraid to do it?
Because it's fear holds them back. And one of the basis of fear, there's two big boxes of fear. One is loss and the other is change. And we fear loss of esteem. We fear if we put ourselves out there, we're going to be ridiculed. We're going to be judged, assessed, and it takes us into that box that we don't want to lose our self-esteem. We want to maintain our self-image, and we don't have the resilience, the understanding, or an ego that's in perspective. So we let our emotions sway what we do on social media. That's number one. And I think confidence enters the room with you. It's that magic elixir, if there ever was one, that people feel, because people are going to buy from emotion first, and they're going to see and seek your confidence before they ever listen to you about whatever product it is you're selling. They're going to buy you. Do you believe in your product? Are you out there in front of your message? People are going to buy the messenger before they ever buy the message, Luke, ever. And this is the most important thing. You better be bringing some substance. You know, my friend Monero talks about this. In Texas, you can say it's all hat and no cattle when all you got is a promise without any substance. So I think that ego with talent is confidence.
Yeah.
Ego without talent, man, that's arrogance.
Yeah, man, that's that's powerful. That is exactly where everything that I do, it's rooted in that. To where I've realized I've been doing what I'm doing now since 2012 is when we really started to promote the business and realize the power of that. And I was so concerned about what others thought at first, because there were people that would say things to my business partner about me, or sometimes say things to me about, why are you talking about yourself or talking to a camera all the time? Why are you putting yourself on social media all the time? It looks really arrogant. And what I realized was the people that had issues with that were those that either one were envious, or number two, weren't those that I wanted to do business with in the first place. But all of a sudden, all this traction started to happen, all this influx of people that were becoming clients. It happened after I began to promote myself, and we're great at what we do. So I've become more and more and more confident saying we're the best at what we do. And here's why, and here's how you can do this for yourself. Here's how we can help you. And it's just snowballed. But I see such talented people afraid to promote themselves on social media because they don't like mixing work with personal. They're afraid of what their friends might think. All of these things that are holding people back. Do you have any tips to help people break through that? Because Bill, you're somebody that just drips of confidence. The perfectly tailored suit. You're in extremely great shape. I mean, everything from that to the way you speak and talk. You are a self-confidence master, but you're great at what you do. So somebody that is great at what they do, but they're struggling to be okay with promoting themselves. Do you have anything that can make them really, that light bulb go off?
Keep building the substance that supports the style. You've got to marry the style and the substance. Style is the first thing that people see when you enter the room, but substance is what keeps you in the room. That's number one. I want to give you a metaphor. I want to give you something you can think about, and you'll remember this one. Think about your emotional bandwidth like a puppeteer, strings and a puppet. Are you the puppet? Or are you the puppet master? Because if you're the puppet, those strings are other people taking your emotion and making you dance to whatever level or bandwidth they want you to dance with. You have the power, you have the scissors, you have the knife. Cut the strings. Cut the strings, because you're going to do business with, and people are going to do business with people they like. People that are like you, like, kind, and quality, like seeks like. And we do business with people we like, people that are like us, or people we want to be like. Luke, got to understand, you ain't for everybody, but you've got to be first for yourself, build your substance, support it with a style that's real, not just an image. People find out facades from the real pretty quickly in this business. But I'll tell you the other thing about social media, though. Be careful with what you put out there from a personal standpoint, so you don't look like a buffoon. So it's got to be in a linear lane that still supports what you're doing from a business standpoint. And when the two merge as one, that's a whole person. I always say that there's no two separate subsets of life and business. Man, this is all life. Make sure your life is congruent with what you're doing in business, and be down that line, because you look like a drunk buffoon hanging out over here. should take down the bus in Vegas. And then you're trying to do something over here.
Right.
Where's your credibility, man? Credibility is the key in the whole equation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the biggest things that I'll speak to my audience about are there are two types of people on social media, the hunters and the hunted. The hunted are those that are on there sometimes making buffoons of themselves, consuming, being caught up in the 1,200 minutes a month is what the average adult spends on Facebook. Those are the hunted. The hunters are those that know those statistics, understand that there are so many people paying attention on all the various social media platforms and doing exactly what you've done with the Wooditch network, which that's not on broadcast television. That's on the internet. These are all your networks: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Twitter. These are all your networks. So the hunters are people like you, like myself, like Matt Monero, like Grant Cardone, other small business owners, other big business owners that understand that this is where my customer is paying attention. And these are my networks. These are the channels that used to be CNN and NBC. Now this is where the average adult pays attention. And then they take advantage of that and they put their content material out because they know that they're going to have the attention of the marketplace. And like you said, you have to make sure that you present yourself. You said substance makes the style. So match your substance and your style together in a way that you can't be vanilla and appeal to everyone. If you do that, your message is boring. Somebody said this and it resonated with me several years ago. There's never been a president that was loved by everybody. The biggest leader in the United States is hated by so many, but also is loved by others. And you have to look at that regardless of what your political stance is and understand that that's the same thing in the game that you and I are in. It's the same thing in business. Would you agree with that?
Well, let's talk about, you mentioned this about presidents and power, and let's talk about influence. Yes. Because social media, that's what we are as influencers. And the first step in becoming an authentic influencer is you have to be yourself. It has to feel right. There has to be a congruency. So think about this in terms of leadership power. To me, there is the weak leader who is controlled by the people because he wants to be liked. So everything he or she does is because they want to be liked, and the people control that leader. Then there's another form of weak leadership, which is the leader who's the dictator, and the people fear that person. So they only do what they're told to do, and you lose the good hearts and minds. They leave. If they're not physically out the door, they are soon after. Where you want to win the hearts and minds is through influence. And you've got to be you. The common link through everyone you named, Cardone, Monero, me, is that we've done something. We're doing something. We're not posers, wannabes, telling you from our couch, go do this, and we've never done it. No, we've all done one thing. We're out there, we failed, we've gotten our asses kicked, and we kept going. You have resilience, Luke, but you also have resourcefulness, which is even more important than resilience. You got that. That's why you survived, and that's why you're thriving and moving ahead. That's what it's all about.
What are your thoughts on as much, we do targeted social media advertising for clients and we have massive success with it. But interestingly enough, I've been able to read between the lines on social media, and I look at it as, obviously I love the ad platform and that's where we make our money. But the way that we make our money with our clients is I've read between the lines. I've seen it as an opportunity to build relationships. The only reason we're sitting here today, the only reason we've, shared drinks and cigars in Las Vegas is because of social media. The only reason I know Matt Monero, the only reason I know Brad Lee, the only reason I know Hank Norman, all of the individuals that have helped me level up, it's literally from starting a relationship on social media, not by necessarily blasting you guys with ads, but by getting an introduction to a new individual on social media and then knowing how to turn that into an in-person relationship. I didn't have to text you when we were in Las Vegas. I probably wouldn't even have ran into you, but I was persistent and said, let's get a drink. Let's get a drink. Let's get a drink. We had a drink, and now we've built this relationship that'll continue to grow. What are your thoughts on that, to where is that a skill set that you think is natural? I know that you do see it as well. Is it something you think is far missed, to where people don't see the true potential in social media and scaling out relationships?
I think that's a great point that extends beyond social media. It's the nature of a relationship, because the nuance, the way you approached me wasn't in some, here comes my pitch, boilerplate, seen
Great
this
point.
1,000 times. You had a nuance to it. You had a Nesler nuance to it. And then you found a commonality with me. And then we found a location commonality. And then we started talking sports. And then it evolved into your own way of conversation, which I thought, this person has some traits like me. It'd be kind of cool to meet him. So you had me at drink. You didn't have to go any further than that. But the nuances and how you did it was
right.
The earmark, the brand of you. And that's how you got my attention.
I think that's something that, and I've had this conversation with a lot of different individuals, that there are multiple sides to the social media landscape. There's the personal branding aspect, the consistently pumping out content, which we do. There's the advertising aspect, the paid ad side. And then there's the seeing it as a relationship building tool and doing exactly what you said, to where my game is not, I meet Matt Monero, I meet you, and I'm not going to hard sell somebody. I want to build a relationship, because I know when you're in need of a service that I offer, if I resonate with you and I want to build a relationship with you and that feeling is mutual, when you need something that I offer, you're going to go to me, because now you know me, you like me, and you trust me, because we've built a real relationship. Yeah. Mistake I see a lot of people making, and I've got hundreds of Instagram inbox messages, and I'm sure you get these as well, to where somebody that'll reach out and say, hey man, I saw you were at the 10X Growth Con. I love your content. Listen, I do financial planning. We should sit down and talk sometime. I don't know you. I don't like you. I don't trust you. If you would go about it to where we build that relationship, you might be my guy. Do you agree with that?
I do. It's similar in our business in corporate insurance. It's people who will promise 20% savings without knowing what you do. They don't know how to spell your last name, but they're going to tell you, here's the metrics. This is what we can do. Oh, by the way, what do you do? So there's a totally different approach. That's a process. It's an incremental way to yes. The old days of going for that juggler, sure, when the juggler's there, it presents itself, you go for that close. But you've got to move incrementally, slowly toward close by building your credibility every step of the way. I think that's huge. And the thing with social media and me is I want to give value. I don't just want to give my lifestyle. I mean, I know it's part of it, and I always feel strange doing it, but I know it's part of the game. But I want to give value so people can take something away and say, you know what, it was worth my 30 seconds. It was worth my 45 seconds. Absolutely. I got value from this. And so to me, that's just how I'm built. That's in my DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an art to be able to combine showing your lifestyle, showing your personality, yet bringing value in every single clip. And I mean, I'm an expert in this. I've done this for years. I still push myself and some days struggle. Like today's one of those days. I've got a weird schedule today. I leave right after this. I'm a best man in a wedding. So my schedule's thrown off. So I was dragging today. I wasn't feeling it today. I went and got a couple of extra shots of espresso today, and I forced myself to put content out, because I know that if I don't feed my community won't feed me. And it doesn't take long to be forgotten. So if I don't post something today, I'm probably not going to post something tomorrow, because there'll be copious amounts of alcohol probably consumed at the wedding. So now I've gone 3 days because I was feeling sluggish on Friday. So it's one of those things to where you can't just do it when it's fun. You've always got to promote. You've always got to bring value to your audience. Do you agree?
And you've lost momentum.
Yes.
And momentum is that thing that's very, very difficult to gain, but very, very easy to lose. And when you lose that momentum and visibility, that door's open for others to enter. Absolutely. So you've got to stay visible. And you know what the great ones do? The great ones do this. They take on the habits and do the things that the people don't want to do. The others just don't want to do. So you're adopting those habits, that success quotient, and the discipline to do those things that others just don't want to do, Luke,
sure,
or won't do. It's the same with writing a book. You've got to put your derriere in the seat, whether you feel like it or not. Emotion has nothing to do with it. You have to have the discipline to sit down and start. And everything begins. I tell people this in the gym, since you mentioned working out. In the gym, I tell them the first part of a good workout is to just show up. And Luke, that's life. Just show up. If you show up prepared, man, you got an edge, right? But just show up. By the way, where is your wedding? Were you flying off to it, or are you driving somewhere?
No, I'm driving. It's in Maryland, so it's not too far of a drive. Yeah, Frederick.
Yeah, I know where it is. It's a part of the, yeah. So I've been through
Yeah,
that.
and I agree. It's one of those things to where, and I think showing up is not just as easy as showing up. And I mean, we've had people at this company before that have shown up, but they're not actually here, you know? And I think you can tell it's showing up and actually showing up. And I think the way to show up and truly show up is to have goals. If you don't know what you're working toward, yeah, I mean, you turn into a routine zombie. All right, I work from 8 to 5, or even those that are entrepreneurs. Okay, I've got to open the business. I got to go do this, and then we close it down. If you don't have something that you're working toward, I mean, it's why would you show up? Your body might be there, but you're not there ready to perform.
Luke, you could have tremendous proficiency in what you do. You could be very, very proficient. You could be effective, but if you don't have aspirations make your proficiency come to life. They make your goals come to life. If you don't have proficiency and all you have is aspirations, you're never going ahead. But when you marry, and that's my big word for the day for you, because you're going to one. When you marry proficiency with aspiration, you're able to drive ahead. And that's that internal fire of goals. What I see so many people walk through the zombie state of life in when it comes to work is they have a job, they collect a check, they show up, they put in their 8 hours or 6.5 hours, or make the work extend and expand to the 8 hours. It's really 2 hours of work. It's the people that find the fire of career and then create the opportunity from that fire that build a legacy. And legacy is what I'm in it for. You got to ask yourself at the end of the day, why do you really do this thing? What's the purpose of the exercise? That's
so powerful. And that's something that I've always had a greater purpose and reason of why I'm doing this. And to be very honest, when I first started, it wasn't legacy. It was very money driven. And to be honest, to this day, it still is. I want to make as much, I want to create as much wealth as I can, because I want to be able to leave a legacy. Now I've been able to connect the dots. Everybody says, yeah, you can't be money motivated. Well, that's not true, because I am extremely money motivated because of what I want to do with it. And it has to do with the legacy. I want to be able to give my mom and dad whatever they want. I want to be able to have my wife roll up in that brand new vehicle that she's been talking about for 3 years is sitting in the driveway. I want to be able to give back to the community. If I see a waitress having a bad day, I want it to be nothing for me to be able to leave her $1,000 check or tip. I want to be able to help people. And you can't do that if you're not successful, at least in my opinion. Andy Frisella said this on his podcast about people that hate on those that want massive success in the form of money. It's great that you go and offer your time at the soup kitchen, but somebody's buying that fucking food. And I want that person to be me. I want that person that's actually supplying the funds to make a difference in the world. And you can't do that if you don't have a purpose and if you don't show up.
Great point.
Yeah. True. I want to talk about something, because I know you're so skilled in an area that I don't think gets brought up enough. And I heard you talking about this on Matt Monero's podcast. And you actually called in and did something for his team. Sales, extremely important. And this podcast is called Attention Equals Dollars. And it's all about, if people aren't paying attention to you, you can't sell them. And how do you turn that attention into dollars? Well, if you're in the business of selling a product, whatever it may be online, cell phone cases, toys, you can go from attention to dollar completely digitally. Everything happens online. Everything happens on social media. But if you sell a product that is a service-based product, if you have to have a conversation with me, if you're selling sales training, if you're selling marketing, insurance, you can't consummate that transaction online. So you have to be able to get the attention of the marketplace and then know how to take them from a prospect to a contact to a closed deal. So how important is it for somebody to get comfortable and really sharpen that sword in the arena of sales, which so many people are uncomfortable with?
The first thing that I did is change my mindset. And I learned this on the fly. And I want to say I did learn this on my own by failing. So I went forward and failed 13 times based on a script that Liberty Mutual had given me. Just flat out failed 13 times. And then I just changed and flipped the script to become my own. I left the script in the car and I changed the mindset from trying to sell to enroll. The first place you get attention is when you're different. Different in a way that's distinctive. Distinctive meaning that you salute and highlight the fact that I know everybody's calling you. I know you get 1,000 of these calls. I know we're all saying the same thing. And we're not this, and we're not this. And the person would say, wait a minute, this is where you're supposed to tell me all these things about how great you are and why we should talk with you. Now, that's a process of getting attention because you're different. It's called a cognitive dissonant approach. When I got that, I kept their attention. Luke, it's one thing to get my attention. It's quite another to hold it. So how I would hold their attention is through this entire process called enrollment, where I would win the heart first and then the mind by talking about them, by learning about them, by letting them talk about their dreams, desires, needs, and letting them talk off script, not about the product, but about really what they wanted at the end of the product. What do they want? They wanted my commitment. They wanted to feel I knew what I was talking about. And then they wanted to know that I knew what I was talking about. See, people need to know you care about them before they ever care about what you know. And this process was a small, every step of the way, yes, closure, where it's a lunch, knowing when to ask for the lunch, knowing when to ask for the next thing, asking just to send information, saying if the information doesn't work, I won't send you anymore, making the next lunch, you've got a familiarity, a process, and you're moving toward yes. My whole thing is about being able to qualify an opportunity. You really have an opportunity to win versus a conversation, because so many salespeople are used because they don't know the questions to ask. So on Monero's podcast, my whole talk was about qualify, how you take the process of qualifying an opportunity from a conversation, because the biggest time suck in sales is the salesman that thinks it's a good call. And you know what? It ain't going anywhere. Just, you're going to be used.
So what's one tip that you can give to my audience about that? Because, and actually I want to point this out, because something you said that I want to make sure that you guys really got this. People need to know you care about them before they care about what you know. Mm-hmm. So give me a tip on how, let's dive deeper into that. And then let's talk about qualifying. What is I'm new to sales. I'm starting my business. How can I make sure that people know that I want to help you, but obviously you've got to buy from me before I can help you. But how do I make sure they know that I care about them, so that now I've asked permission to show them what I know?
I'm going to give you a platinum multi-million-dollar answer. And I mean platinum multi-million-dollar answer. Tried, true, not only for me, but for people that worked here that cash the 7-figure checks. And I'll tell you what it is. And it's going to sound so simple to you that you're going to say, oh, okay. It's called think and do. Think and do. What's the one thing missing today in business? Manners. What's the other thing missing? Mostly a sense of urgency. When I would leave a prospect's office, I would, from their parking lot, send them a thank you email highlighting 2 or 3 points we talked about, and then hooking back to the action item and the next item. And the difference that they would tell me from someone who actually took the time to write a thank you separated me from 90% of the people who thought they should do it and then didn't do it. See, wow. People either think, and they think too long waiting for the perfect solution and don't do, or people do without thinking, and they should probably think a little bit. When you can marry your thought, I should call Bob, I should call Luke, I should do this right now, with an action, Luke, the shorter the distance between your thought and a decisive action, the greater the chance of success in whatever the endeavor. And the opposite's true. The longer you wait, someone else is taking that momentum. Someone else is taking that 3 days when you were off social media, not doing anything, and they're moving through because they're thinking and doing, feeling, think, do. Luke, it separates you. It separates you because 90% of people who come in here for a job interview don't write me a thank you. Do you think they're getting a job? No. Yeah. No. Think, do. It's the same in business. You're separating yourself through action.
Why I love that is because it is so simple. Why I love that is because it's something that humanizes you to where that small little, it's the same thing as a handwritten note today. You send somebody a handwritten note just randomly out of the blue, or even in holidays. Do you know how many cards I get from companies that we use that the signatures are fucking scanned and printed onto the card from all the employees? But I will say this. So my insurance company, one of our clients, Insurance Centers, they've been a client of mine for several years, and we have several of our insurance policies with them. My birthday was on March 24th. And I actually need to talk to the owner about this because I think it was amazing. 22? Every single person that knows me at that company hand signed and wrote a birthday wish to me. And I know they don't just do that for me. I know they do that for all their customers. And they sent that to me. And I was completely blown away, because that probably took at least 40 minutes for whoever organized that to walk around, get everybody's signature. They wrote a little note and then they mailed it to me. Little things like that. It's Gary Vaynerchuk's book, The Thank You Economy. It's all about doing something that is real, that is human, that it's the extra mile, but it's so simple, other people don't think about. So I love that answer. That's amazing.
It's the investment in that diminishing frame of time for each of us. Time,
yeah.
We only have 24 hours, but it's a personal investment. See, you're either making it personal or impersonal with what you do with that. You set yourself back by doing things that are impersonal, thinking that you've done it. It's an impersonal way to do it.
So true.
What are you now, 22 years old, 23? Happy birthday.
Me?
Happy
Man,
birthday.
I'm 29. I hate do you hate your birthdays?
Huh?
Do you hate your birthdays?
I'm like, there's a Joe Namath book out that said, I can't wait until tomorrow because I get better looking every day. So no, I don't hate my birthdays.
You're like a vampire though, Bill. Bill, I don't know if Bill wants to share his date or his date of birth, but I'm much younger than Bill, and Bill is in much better shape than I. Rolls around, gets, all the attractive ladies in Vegas look twice. They weren't looking at me, and even though I might have told myself, man, I look
big
good.
Cuban cigars, baby.
It's the cigars. Here's why I hate my birthday though. So my business is doing well. I hate it. I don't think it's doing nearly as well as I want. I'm every time I get close to my goal, I extend it. Now I'm so much further away from it. People come up to me and they're like, man, this is awesome. You've done so well for yourself. I hate that. The reason I hate my birthday is because I feel like I'm running out of time. I set goals because, like we were talking about before we started recording, I'm so impatient, just like you. So by the time I was 30, I wanted to have a specific net worth. I wanted our business to be at a specific level. And I see people that have done it by my age, and I didn't reach that goal. So it pisses me off because I feel like I'm running out of time. Do you think that's insane? Do you think that's what drives me, motivates me, makes me a winner? What's your take on that?
One of the things I love about you, man, don't change that. What I call that is a sense of urgency, not impatience. And to me, business runs on two things: common sense and a sense of urgency. Both are in Darth supply, but everything else is just numbers. Give me people with a sense of urgency. Bring me people that bring some substance to the table, and I'll show you a company that can change the world. Yeah. And that's the key. You always keep that urgency, because it's about what's next for you. You're an achiever, man. What's next? What's next? What's next? 3 levels. There's the achiever doing what you do, making that climb, making the ascent. Then they get to a certain point where they get comfortable, because motivation's sated, because they got the cars, they got the house, they got the money in the bank, and they want to just maintain what they have. No, success does not allow you to rest on it. It's always under construction. You got to take the next growth spurt, or you are in decline, my friend. And let me tell you this, and let me marry 10X to activity rules success. I'll give you a date on my time. When I started, it was 1986. It was a small ruler in a desk. It said activity rules success. And I knew if I had a shitload of activity, I was going to be able to go forward. That's what the ruler said. When you marry a tremendous amount of activity, and only you can decide what that number is, because what is 10X? It doesn't mean anything unless you put a number on the table. What's your industry doing? Do 10 times more. Same with activity rules success. Marry that to think and do, and you will kick major ass. Major ass.
Success is always under construction is always. Something that you just said, and that always. And that's why the people that I resonate with, and something that I've done that I want to point out, Bill's level of success, Matt Monero's level of success, Brad Lee, Grant Cardone, all the people that I choose to surround myself with, they're several steps ahead of me. I don't want to hang out with somebody. I have zero interest in hanging out with somebody that's doing what I'm doing or doing less. It doesn't push me. It doesn't help me continue to evolve and mold. I respect them. It's not that I have a disrespect for them and think that I'm better, but I want to get to where I'm going faster than everybody else. And the way I'm going to do that is have that mindset. Success is always, under construction. A lot of people would be happy making what I'm making and would stop. I'm nowhere satisfied. I feel like I'm broke, and I continue to make myself feel like that. And I position myself with people like you because of exactly what you just said. Success is always under construction. I've never heard somebody say that, but that's so big. And just for those watching and listening, Bill's somebody that probably could stop right now and really didn't have to do much. He could manage his business from afar, enjoy life. Every single day, Bill, I see on Instagram, on Facebook, you're grinding like you're just starting your business. And that's why I love you so much. And that's why I have so much respect for you.
Because I love it. I think when you're pushing for something, you're pushing for success. I think there's an awkward feel of burnout to it. When you're pulled from purpose, it'll pull you right out of that bed, man, and make you do it. You'll never work a day in your life. There's a pull. And what you're doing is leveraging mentors. You're just leveraging the mentors, because the job of a mentor, and I have my mentors as well, is to shorten the distance between where you are and where you intend to go and lessen the flow of blood. You know, less sting, less pain, because we've done it. Now you got to still make the experience yours. You got to still be able to think for yourself, but you can leverage the Moneros. You can leverage the Cardone's ideas and think, what would I do? Play it forward and leverage those thoughts. That's what makes a difference. And here's the thing about success I want to point out. To me, that's a relative term. It has never had a financial end to it. It's always been, to me, the realization of my own expectation. So I view success as, have I contributed to the welfare of others by, in some small way, providing some kind of a map, ideas, thoughts, or creating that basis, the genesis, being the catalyst for thought, where they can take action and make this world a better freaking place. Global aspirations, perhaps, but that's what gets me out of bed.
Bill Wooditch from the Wooditch Network, author of, now what's the next book coming out?
Fail More.
Fail More. Author of Fail More, Always Forward, which is currently out right now. Bill, talk to me about where people can find your network. I want to hear about the Wooditch Network so people can go there and consume all the great content that you have. We have a couple of shows on there. You've got a mass amount of content on there. Talk to us about that.
At Bill Wooditch or BillWooditch.com. You'll see me all over the place. And by the way, we are really, there's people in this room right now with me. They're making me sweat more than anything else, although your questions are great. They're keeping me structured. So you're going to see a lot more content that's hard hitting. And I want to talk with you because I think I can learn and work with you on a lot of stuff, because you've done a lot of really good things for people I admire. So after this call, we're going to get on a call.
Yeah, definitely. We'll end up doing some exciting things. Bill, again, guys, for those listening, watching, Bill is somebody that has just in the short amount of time that I've known him, I've learned so much from him. The team that he has, Kelsey, who's with him all the time, is an amazing individual. He surrounds himself with successful, with great people, and he's somebody that you need to follow, you need to watch, you need to consume their content. He will help you level up. If you don't already subscribe to the podcast, be sure to go to iTunes, rate, review, subscribe. That's how we introduce the Attention Equals Dollars podcast to more people. Be sure to like us on Facebook, where we go live every week. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be sure to follow Bill Wooditch. Again, Bill, give your social media handles again for us.
At Bill Wooditch, WOODITCH, BillWooditch.com, WOODITCH. Luke, I got to end this with one thing you did like in Vegas.
Please.
Start with the purpose of the exercise in mind. Why are you doing this? Your family, your loved ones, the lifestyle, what is it? And work everything in your life backwards from there. Staying in shape. Intellectually, you're a learner, you're curious, you're always learning and moving forward and applying, taking those risks, those guarded risks, but you still have to take the risks to move forward. And spiritually, believe it in something that's greater than you, and really honing in on that emotional pillar that connects you with others. Hey, you ain't for everybody, baby, but the first person you have to be for is yourself. Know the purpose of the exercise, and everything else falls into place.
I love that. Hey, Bill, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. We'll definitely be having you on again. We got to do one where we're live in person in the same place, and I'm sure we'll be able to make that happen sometime in the near future. And keep us posted. Let us know the progress of the book when that's coming out, and we'll make sure that we drive traffic there from my audience over as well. And it's been an honor talking to you today.
I'm a Luke Nesler fan, man. Be safe. Have a great weekend.
All right, guys, until next time, you have to get attention. Attention is the digital currency of today. Bill's giving you tremendous knowledge. Be sure to implement and deploy that now, today, not tomorrow. We'll talk to you guys next time. Is your business struggling right now? You might think that it's because you don't have enough sales, but the reality is it's because you don't have the attention of the marketplace. This is Attention Equals Dollars. You deserve more. Your business deserves more. And I'm here to teach you everything that I know on how to get the attention that you need and to turn that attention into dollars.